येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददति स्वपादान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Yes, all of you together with me should recite unmute yourself. Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare
Rama Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Rama, Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Mataji, Mataji, don't say
Yes, Arya, you are trying to say something.
I know the Sri Krishna Chaitanya, that one.
Guru Pranama.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. From tomorrow's class, then we'll start. You can recite one by one. All of you can recite, and then we will start. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If there is time after the class, I will give you a chance. You can recite that time also.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. Fine. So we already showed you the temple and the temple president, and this is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, who's the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Okay, so before we start, let me give you a brief introduction of the Acharya. So in the year 1965, okay, Acharya Prabhupada was actually from Vrindavan. And he traveled all the way from Vrindavan to Boston, okay, to give the message of Bhagavad Gita there, and also propagate Lord Krishna and his teachings, okay. And so in the year 1965, the famous envoy of the spiritual teaching in India, okay. So Prabhupada not only started his preaching or started the Krishna consciousness movement, not only in India, but initially he was doing it in India, and later by God's calling, he had to he had to travel all the way to Boston, okay, New York, where he started in a small room, okay, with only one disciple or only one devotee. He started, and later it went on to be a very big movement, and because of his efforts, today we have around 108 ISKCON temples throughout the globe, okay. And yeah. So when he traveled from India to Boston, he just had 40 rupees in his pocket, okay. And he was at the age of when he was traveling, his age was 67 years, okay. So during he was born in 1896, okay, and during 1965 he traveled to Boston, okay. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan for spreading the message of Lord Krishna in the Western countries, and after that he entered Boston with a trunk full of Lord Krishna's books, and with just 40 rupees in his pocket, okay. Imagine in those days, just 40 rupees in his pocket, he started his journey all the way from Vrindavan, from India to Boston. And there he started in a very small room, okay. He started his teaching, and initially only one disciple or only one person was attending his course, and later it went on to be a very big movement. Okay, so you can see here, okay, how all the devotees are surrounding him. Okay, so he lived in New York until the year 1966, and he had started giving lectures on sacred Bhagavad Gita weekly, and in 1966 he established the ISKCON in the New York successfully. Okay, so this is again the picture of Prabhupada, who was a small boy, okay, age of 6 years. Okay, so from his young age itself, he was a complete devotee of Lord Krishna. And this is the temple deity which I showed you yesterday. And Prabhupada, okay, so we to these gurus we are doing the Guru Pranam. Okay, so as I said, before you start your class, okay, we take the blessings of the Guru who gave us this preaching or who gave us this understanding, okay, of the knowledge. Okay, so you should also remember your Guru. All in life we will many play. Okay, I mean, you keep learning things from many people. Okay, so you should remember or thank them for the pranam is to thank and seek their blessings before you start off your any work that you start. Okay, and Srila Prabhupada is the guru of Swami Jayapataka, who is the president of the New York, I mean, in the, he's right now in Mayapur, okay, and he's because of his efforts, the Mayapur temple in India has come out, the ISKCON temple has really come out very well, and I request all of you, if you get a chance, you visit the Mayapur ISKCON temple. It is really very beautiful, where residential school also happens there. Okay, so Swami Jayapataka is the president, and he, because of him, the development in Mayapur has happened. Okay, and then his disciple is the ISKCON Mangaluru temple president, Namanishta, His Grace Namanishta Das Prabhuji, who is an engineer by profession, but later, because of the God's calling, he has quit his job and then completely involved himself in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so this is called as, so you learn, you take your learning, or when you surrender completely, okay, to the God, okay, or the parampara, that is from one guru, the knowledge passes on to the other, and from and when the knowledge goes to his disciple, okay, that is called as the Guru Parampara. And because of the efforts and the guidance of Jayapataka Swami, the online classes are also, and we are all of us are so fortunate that sitting at the comfort of our own houses, okay, we are able to get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so so we should be thankful, and we should also seek their blessings every time. Okay, and so basically the Bhagavad Gita story. Okay, so all of you, do you recognize the picture here? Whom do you see in the picture? Can you type your answer, or you can raise your hand if you know the answer?
Mataji, Ganesh.
Ganesh, okay.
From Ganesh.
Lord Ganesh, Lord Ganesh, right? And who is here? Who is this sadhu?
Vedavyasa.
Vedavyasa. Yeah, very good. So all of you recognize. Okay, what do you think they are doing here in this picture?
They are telling Mahabharatam.
Yeah, okay. So Vedavyasa is dictating Mahabharata, or all the sequences that happens, the Mahabharata Katha he is telling, and Lord Ganesha is chosen to write, okay, because he is very knowledgeable. Lord Ganesha is very knowledgeable, and Vedavyas tells him that whatever I say, you should understand properly, and then you should write, okay. And so Lord Ganesha also has a condition for Vedavyas, that he should say that you should start dictating continuously. He will put a condition to Vedavyas. Okay, so you should, and if you take more time to dictate, then I'm stop writing. Okay, but and then so Vedavyas also will tell Ganesha, or he will also instruct him that whatever I say, you should understand thoroughly, and then you should put it in words, or you should write on the palm leaves. Okay, or you should you should write. Okay, and so so this is the scene where Vedavyas is narrating Mahabharata, and Lord Krishna, Lord Ganesha is writing it. Okay, and so you should, and a part of that is the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and before we start the Bhagavad Gita, as I said yesterday, right? Bhagavad Gita is basically a conversation that happens between the Lord Krishna and Arjuna. Okay, and so why and where does this conversation happen? Okay, this conversation basically happens in the battlefield. Okay, of Kurukshetra. Okay, so it is Arjuna is having a lot of doubts. Okay, or he has a lot of questions. Okay, so we'll see what are the questions he is having, or what questions he is asking, or what is that running on Arjuna's mind, and then how Krishna will tackle it, or how he is going to answer and comfort Arjuna. Okay, or why? So we will see that. So before we understand that, let's see also understand the family tree of, or the family tree of the Kuru dynasty. Okay, so basically the Mahabharata, or the story is between there is a fight for the land between the two cousins. Okay, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, right? It is all about them, and and why this fight begins, and why there is why there is a war between the cousin brothers. Is all about the Mahabharata. And then Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna in the battlefield will refuse to go ahead and fight the battle, or go ahead and wage the war. And therefore, Krishna will make him realize, okay, what Arjuna, what your duties are, okay, and how you should devotionally perform your duty, okay, and how you should completely surrender to the Lord, okay, and everything is happening because of the instructions from the Lord. Okay, so that is the basic scene of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so before we see, let's understand the Kuru dynasty. Okay, so Shantanu will be the first king. He'll have three wives, Ganga, Satyavati, and Parashara. Okay, and Ganga's son will be Bhishma, and then Satyavati will have two sons. One is Chitrangada and Vichitra Virya. Okay, and uh, the Satyavati will actually be a fisherwoman. Okay, and Ganga actually she will relieve some of the sages by I mean, she'll marry Shantanu, and later every child that is born to her, she will say, Shantanu, that you should not ask any questions with what I do with the kids. Okay, and so that's how she will because she'll be relieving some of the sages from the curse that they have. Okay, but later when Bhishma is born, Shantanu will stop her, because she would have already drowned some 6 kids before him. Okay, and so Shantanu will think that I should not let go the next, I mean, Bhishma. When Bhishma is born, he'll feel that I should not let go of the son. Okay, and so he will interrupt, and that's how Bhishma will not be drowned in the water. Okay, and then but later it so happens that Shantanu will also he will fall in love with Satyavati, who is a fisherwoman, and she will have 2 kids called Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Okay, but Satyavati will have a condition that she is going to marry Shantanu only if her children are made the heirs, because she already knows that Shantanu has a son, Bhishma, who is born for Ganga. Okay, and who is rightfully the king, to be the next king. Okay, and so Satyavati will have this condition that her kids have to become, and that's how then Bhishma, to satisfy his father, he will take a oath that he will not marry, and then he will also promise Satyavati that her kids will be made the next king, and that's how the story begins. Okay, and then the sons, I mean, the sons of Shantanu will, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, they will get married to Ambika, Ambalika. Okay, and then and to Ambika, Dhritarashtra is born. To Ambalika, Pandu is born. Okay, and then Dhritarashtra will have two wives, Gandhari and Vaishyava. To Gandhari, 1,000 sons are, I mean, sorry, not 1,000, 100 sons are born, and Dhritarashtra will have one daughter, and Yoyotsava, her name is. And then Ambalika will give birth to Pandu, and to Vyasa, and Parashara is the mother for Vyasa. Okay, and so that's how Vyasa will know the entire story, or that's how he will know the entire Mahabharata, or the sequence, everything. He will know all details, and that's how he will also decide to write the Mahabharata. Okay, and then Pandu will have two wives, Kunti and Madri, and to Kunti, Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna are born. Madri, Nakula and Sahadeva will be born. Okay, and again, Madri will be able to give birth because of the Kunti. Okay, she'll be very pious lady, and she will also have a boon from the god. Okay, from her guru. Okay, and that's how she'll be able to without she will just have to recite a mantra, and she'll be able to give birth to the kids. Okay, and so that's how Pandu will have 5 sons. Okay, so basically the Mahabharata war is between this so once Dhritarashtra, since he's a blind, though he is elder among Pandu and Dhritarashtra is elder. Okay, but since he is blind, his younger brother Pandu will be made the higher of the throne. Okay, and then as per the decision of Satyavati and Bhishma, and but somewhere Dhritarashtra will always have that on mind, that though being elder and though being very powerful, okay, he'll be very strong and powerful also. He is not made the king. Okay, and his younger brother Pandu is made. Okay, and then because of some curse, again Pandu and Madari will die. Okay, and then Kunti will be left alone with her 5 sons. Okay, and that time when Pandu dies, Dhritarashtra will be nominated, because all kids, the Kauravas and Pandavas will be very small. Okay, all of them will be very young. Dhritarashtra will be nominated as the king. Okay, again, because there will be nobody else to look after. Okay, and so later when Yudhishthira, the eldest among all the cousins, okay, Yudhishthira will be the eldest among everybody, and so Bhishma would want to nominate, or they want to make Yudhishthira as the king. But Dhritarashtra and the Kaurava, or the eldest son of Dhritarashtra, he will not be, or they will not be very happy. But still, since Yudhishthira is the eldest, and then Bhishma is the great grandfather, okay, because of his decision they will decide, but later it somehow ends up, okay, Kaurava, they foul play a game, and then they will send the Pandavas to the forest. Okay, we are not giving them a land, and this war is because of the fight between the 2 cousins. Okay, and yeah, and later the Pandavas will get married to Draupadi, and Arjuna will again marry Subhadra, and she'll have a son called Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu and Uttara will marry, and then Parikshit is born to them, or the son. Parikshit will be the he'll be the grandson for Arjuna. Okay, and Parikshit Maharaj is also a very great devotee of the Lord. Okay, and so this is the basic family history of, or the family tree of the Kuru dynasty, or which is the basic scene for the Mahabharata story. Okay, and this is the picture or the scenery where the Krishna is giving the Gitopadesha to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay, so if you see here, Krishna has brought Arjuna to the middle of the battlefield where the Pandavas are on one side and the Kauravas are on the other side. Okay, and yeah, so the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita basically means the songs of the God. Okay, Bhagavat means Bhagwan. Okay, Gita means song. Okay, so it is the songs of the God. So Bhagavad Gita basically means the songs of the God. Okay, so the reciter of the Bhagavad Gita is basically Lord Krishna. Okay,
Mataji,
yeah.
in these two sides, which is the Arjuna's side and which is Duryodhana's side?
This is the Arjuna side, and you have on the other side you have the Kaurava standing. Okay.
Mataji, I thought that only Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. So he will Arjuna will actually ask Krishna, please take me to the center of the battlefield. Let me see who all are supporting Duryodhana. Okay. So he wants to see, and therefore Arjuna, Lord Krishna gets him to the middle of the battlefield, and then he sees. Yeah, he will see all of them. Okay. So this is again a small introduction where Krishna descends to this planet once in a day of Brahma or every 86,000 lakh years. Okay, and Lord Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. Okay, so we all think that Bhagavad Gita was first told to Arjuna, but it is not like it is not so. Bhagavad Gita was first told to the sun god. Okay, hundreds of millions of years ago, and the sun god then later passes on that knowledge to Manu. Okay, in chapter 4 I will show you. Okay, and then from Manu the knowledge will be passed on to Ishvaku, and later Lord Krishna wanted Arjuna to become an authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita, and because Arjuna was the Lord's first disciple, he was also his devotee and he was also his friend. Okay, that's why he chose Arjuna to give this knowledge, and it is believed that Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has the qualities very similar to Arjuna. Okay, because Arjuna is a very pious. All the Pandavas are quite pious, but among all of them, Arjuna is considered to be the best. Okay, because of his a lot of qualities. Okay, and then Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita and calls Krishna as the Parabrahma, the Supreme Brahma. And Bhagavad Gita teaches you, okay, what do you learn, or you may be wondering what I want, what will I get to know, or what will I understand, or what is it? Okay, so it basically teaches you the simple principles of life. Okay, it is like a life manual. Okay, so how you should be in life, how should I behave with my elders, how should I behave with my youngers, what is my duty, what is my duty in life, how should I develop devotion. Okay, when any duty that you perform, you should do it with complete devotion. So how do I develop that devotion for a duty? So it is like a manual, or it gives you, or it teaches you the simple principles of the life. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the message of Krishna comes via the unbroken chain of disciplinary succession. That is the knowledge. Okay. So if you see, even in school, right, the teacher gives you some knowledge, and then if it passes on from one person to another. Okay. So the knowledge comes from, so as I said, Krishna passes that knowledge to Brahma, and then from Brahma, the knowledge goes to Narada Muni, and from Narada Muni, the knowledge goes to Vyasa. Okay, and then from Vyasa to Madhava to Padmanabha. Okay, so like this you have. Okay, so and we have, so if you see at the 32nd position, you have Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That's why it is called as the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay, so what Krishna was spoken only is being transmitted, or the message of Krishna comes via an unbroken chain of disciplining succession. Okay, so why it is very important that you should have a parampara, or you should have a guru. is, say, anybody cannot prescribe. Say, for example, if you have some
teacher
problem, or say you have some difficulty in health, okay, so you always go to the doctor. Okay, why? Because he is a professional man, right? He knows what is happening, because he's already studied your body. He has studied the body. He knows I mean, for what disease, what are the symptoms, or he knows to diagnose, and relevantly he knows to give the medicine for that, right? Because they understand the body well. Okay, so it is like a professionally you go to a doctor. So how the doctor gives medicine. Okay, so even when you are gaining knowledge, or you want to understand, seek a guru. Okay, so they should always have. Okay, so they should have a parampara, or it should come from a lineage like this. Okay, so it should be from an authenticated person. It is believed that when it comes from, it is like an authentication. Okay, say for example, if you get admitted to a school, okay, so you go to a school where many people recommend. Okay, why they recommend? Because of the experiences that they gain there. Okay, the good experience that they get, and they also see how people flourish. Okay, after that. Okay, so they take everything into account, and then they give a they give recommendations, right? So it's the same way. So even when you are for spiritual growth also, you have to have see what you are it's just not attending a class, but it is a spiritually you should develop that awareness. Spiritually you should be able to grow, okay, which is very important in life. Okay, so you should get the knowledge from an authenticated or a professionally qualified person. Okay, so that is the okay, so Bhagavad Gita is like a nectar of Gita, can be consumed in this 18-day foundation course, and if you continue your journey, it will teach you the ways of life. So Upanishads are like the cows, and Krishna is milking these cows. Arjuna is the calf, and the wise drink the milk and the great Gita nectar. Okay, so here if you see, so this is a scene where the Lord shows his universal form. Okay, so here Arjuna gets to see the universal form of the actual strength of the Lord here. Okay, so that is what he's showing. Okay, so so we should be able to. So Krishna is understanding Gita is like Krishna giving milking the cows, and Arjuna is the calf who is drinking it, or the wise drink the milk. Okay, why? Because in life we suffer from all these things, like we have lust, greed, ignorance, envy, anger, false prestige, pride, attachment. Okay, so all these are some things which will put us down or pull us down. It can put us into different modes. Okay, it can put us into different modes, and which can put us sometimes in the demonic mode, or sometimes we will be in mode of goodness, and sometimes we'll be in the mode of passion. Okay, so because we'll be affected by all these things. It could be lust, it could be ignorance, it could be anger. Okay, so when you understand, or when you drink this nectar of Gita, okay, so you will be able to come out of these things. Okay, yeah, and Gita is basically divided into 3 parts. Okay, so we have totally 18 chapters. Okay, so we divide the 18 chapters into 3. One is chapter 1 to 6, which is called as the Karma Yoga, where the Lord teaches what are the duties one has to perform. And chapter 7 to 12, it is on Bhakti Yoga, where the Lord teaches how to follow or how to practice bhakti. And then from chapter 13 to 18, he gives us deeper understanding of how to do your duty with bhakti. Okay, that's why it is called as the Jnana Yoga. So you should understand. So we have 3 parts. One is the Karma Yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita, we call it as the yoga, because it is the yoga for the mind. It is the yoga for the body. Like how you do, when I say yoga, if you remember, you always think of some exercise, okay, where you do exercise to keep your physical body strong, okay. So along with body, it is also very important to keep our mind also strong, okay. Our body, mind should also be strong, okay. So if you have to gain control of your mind, or you have to synchronize your body, mind, and soul, then it's very important that you build awareness on karma yoga, the bhakti yoga, and the jnana yoga, okay. So that's what the Lord gives us, or he gives us knowledge on karma in the first 6 chapters. Then he gives us knowledge on, or he's giving knowledge on bhakti to Arjuna. Through Arjuna, we are also able to understand that. And from chapter 13 to 18, he's giving even more knowledge on the how to follow the bhakti as well as the karma in our day-to-day life. Okay, so that's how it is divided. And Gita basically has 18 chapters, 700 shlokas, 94,569 words. Okay, and then it has also been translated into 578 languages. Okay, so you see how how rich our Indian heritage is. Okay, so it is so we are so rich that 578 languages it has been translated. Okay, so out of the 700 shlokas or the verses, this is how it is divided. Lord Krishna speaks, or he recites 574 verses. Arjuna recites 84 verses, or has spoken 84 shlokas. And Sanjaya, who is the charioteer for the king Dhritarashtra, he recites 41 shlokas, and Dhritarashtra recites 1 shloka. Okay, so principles of Gita is, if your knowledge and actions are same, then you are wise. Okay, and so this is, today we are doing the first chapter, which is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. It is also called as observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I told you, right? I showed you the picture where Arjuna asks Krishna to take him to the center field of the battlefield, and then center of the battlefield, and then he wants to see who are all supporting Duryodhana. Okay. And so Arjuna takes him. Okay, so that is observing. That's why it's called as observing the armies of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Arjuna was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. He surrendered unto Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And this Bhagavad Gita basically was spoken for around 45 minutes in the battlefield. Okay, so as I said, it was a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Okay, so they conversed before they start with the war. Okay, or before they actually started with the battle. Okay, the Krishna and Arjuna, both of them spoke for 45 minutes, and that is called as the Bhagavad Gita, or you also call it as the Gita Upadesha. Okay, where Krishna is giving Upadesha to Arjuna. Okay. It's the same thing. Sure. Yeah. So the first shloka is spoken by Dhritarashtra. Ishwar, can you recite?
Yes, Mataji. Dhritarashtra vacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Yeah, very good. Ramesh, do you also know to recite? Yeah, recite.
Dhritarashtra Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaksheva Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Very good. Yes, Aryav, read the translation. Aryav Bharadwaj.
Yes, Mataji. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after assembling in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do, being desirous to fight?
Yeah, good. Okay, so the meaning of the shloka is like this. Dhritarashtra vacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyotsavaha mamakha pandava chaiva kim akurvata sanjaya. The meaning is Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after assembling in the place of pilgrim at Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do, being desirous to fight? Okay, so we saw that here, right? Yeah. So here the Kauravas and the Pandavas are facing each other in the battlefield, and Arjuna will ask Krishna, okay, Krishna, please take me to the center field. Okay, I want to see who are all supporting Duryodhana. Okay, because Duryodhana, without giving the land, is performing the adharma. Okay, and so he wants to, Arjuna wants to see who are all supporting him. Okay, and later he sees that, and later he sees that his great grandfather, okay, Bhishma, his guru, okay, who has taught him who has made him, or because of his guru, he became the best archer in the world, right? Dronacharya. And then he also sees his family guru, Krupacharya. Then he sees all his countrymen, okay, whom he has seen them, okay, from his younger days, okay, he has all grown up with all of them. Okay, and he sees all of them standing in front of him, and then seeing that, he gets disturbed, okay, because when he sees all of them, he sees that he has to now fight a war, or he has to face the war against his own men, or his own country men, his own great grandfather, his own guru, okay, his own family guru, his own cousins, okay, Kauravas, his own cousins, he has to fight in the battle, and so he is disturbed of that. And Sanjaya is actually a disciple of Vedavyas, and because of Vedavyas blessings, Sanjaya will have a divine eyes to see whatever, he'll be able to see whatever is happening in the Kurukshetra battlefield. Okay, and since Dhritarashtra is a blind king, okay, and his charioteer is Sanjaya, and so Dhritarashtra knows that Sanjaya has this divine power, that he will be able to see what is happening there. And so he will ask him to narrate whatever is happening in Kurukshetra battlefield. And so Dhritarashtra was asking Sanjaya that, please tell me, all of them, now that Dhritarashtra knows that the Pandavas and everybody are now ready to face each other in the battlefield, or they have declared a war, okay, to begin the war. And so Dhritarashtra is now want to know what is happening, or he wants to understand what all is happening in the battlefield. And so he will ask Sanjaya, he will ask, after assembling in the place of pilgrim Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do, being desirous to fight? So he is asking him to narrate what is happening there. Okay, so you can see here he is asking, and so because he is asking, Sanjaya is able to view what is happening there, and he's telling that Arjuna has requested Krishna to take him to the center of the battlefield, and he's asking him to he wants to see who all are supporting Duryodhana. Okay, and so he will tell him, he will give that information to him. Okay, and then yeah, okay, and so he will so why it is called as the battlefield Kurukshetra is called as the Dharmakshetra. Okay, why it is called as Dharmakshetra? Because many religious activities would have happened in that place. Okay, and Krishna on purpose will choose that place for the battle. Okay, and that's why it's called, because they are fighting for the cause of dharma. Okay, see, when you are declaring a war, okay, when you declare a war, what is going to happen, Vedika? If you fight a war, what is going to happen, Vedika? You others can also post your answers in the chat. Yeah, Ramesh Arya says we will die. Yes. So the consequences going to be death. You're going to hurt the other person, right? Everybody are going to kill each other. Okay, though it is only going to be misery. It is only going to be death. Okay, but still the place is called as Dharmakshetra. Okay, why? Because it is for the cause of all that is happening for the cause of some good. Okay, dharma, because it is for the sake of dharma, they are going to face each other, or they're going to fight the war. Okay, so it is like similar to, so when you take a milk, okay, when you boil milk and then you pour some lemon into that, what is going to happen, Ramesh? Arya, Ramesh Arya, what is going to happen? Unmute yourself. Yeah. What is going to happen? Unmute yourself.
Mataji, I didn't heard the question.
So
Can you ask?
if you take a vessel of a vessel which is filled with milk, okay, and then you put some lemon into that, what is going to happen?
It will come out of the bowl, Mataji.
It is going to curdle, right? The entire milk is going to curdle, right? It look like something here. Can you see the second picture?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so the milk is going to get curdled. Okay, so that is called as Mamaka Pandava. Okay, so fighting in the battlefield, you're going to hurt somebody or you're going to kill somebody, you're going to, okay, but the end result is going to be, so even with the curdled milk, okay, you can prepare sweets. Okay, what is this sweet?
Kimmakurvata.
No, what is the sweet you see here, Vedika?
Rasgulla? Rasgulla?
Yeah, rasgulla. Okay, so which is prepared from the curdled milk, right? So even because you are facing, okay, or the Kurukshetra in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there is a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, but it is for the cause of the dharma. Okay, because Lord Krishna himself is on the side of the Pandavas, right? And so that's why that is the meaning. Dharmakshetre Mamaka Pandava. That is, though the milk is spoiled, okay, but the end result is always sweet. Okay. So Kim Akurvata. That's why the end result is going to be like a rasgulla. Okay. So because it is for the cause of dharma, so even if you are waging a war, okay, the end result is going to be fruitful, and therefore they're going to wage the war. Okay. And Lord Krishna. So because of that, Lord Krishna, okay, so he chooses to be his charioteer, right? And so Lord Krishna will be the one who will blow his conch shell, declaring the war against the Kauravas. Okay, and his conch shell is called as the Panchajanya. And Arjuna, so once when you blow the conch shell, no, the meaning is that you are ready to fight, or you are ready to face or you are ready for the war. It implies that. So from Pandava's side, Lord Krishna will blow his first, or will be the first one to blow his conch shell, and his conch shell is called as the Panchajanya. And Arjuna later will also blow his conch shell, and it is called as the Devadatta. His conch shell is called as the Devadatta. And then there are 5 reasons why Arjuna will be able to win in this war, okay? Or the 5 reasons why, or the 9 reasons why Arjuna will be able to win the war is because of these. One is Lord Krishna is on his side, and then wherever Krishna is there, Lakshmi is sure to follow him, because in Vishnu avatar she is his wife, right? And so Bhagyalakshmi will also give her blessings, okay? And so prosperity will always be there, okay? And then on that day, it will be an Ekadashi day, which is very pleasing day for Lord Krishna. Okay, and it is called as the Mokshada Ekadashi. Okay, the Ekadashi that went last in December. Okay, was also called as the Mokshada Ekadashi. Okay, so it will be on Mokshada Ekadashi day will be chosen for to begin the war. Okay, and then this one Shankar. Krishna will blow his conch shell. Okay, that is another reason. And this Gandiva, which Arjuna receives from which god? Ishwar.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, who gives Arjuna the Gandiva?
Ma'am, can I say?
Yeah.
Lord Fire God, ma'am. Fire God.
Fire God. Fire or Agni?
Agnidev.
Who gives him the chariot? Who gives him the chariot?
Agnidev Mataji.
Hanuman.
Indra. Fire God. Lord Indra Mataji. Ma'am, Lord Krishna.
Okay, so chariot. Then the chariot will also have the divine, the chariot is divine, and then the chariot will also have a flag. Okay, the flag will have a symbol of, whose symbol can you see?
Hanuman God.
Lord Hanuman. Yeah, Lord Hanuman. Okay, so
Why
yeah.
did they give the picture of the world? Why did they give the picture? Right?
Okay, so these are all the 9 reasons why Arjuna will be able to win the,
Mataji,
yeah.
why did they give the picture of the earth?
Why did the
Why did they give the picture of the earth?
Mama, Chuna is the picture of the moon.
moon?
And
Ekadashi.
Mataji, earth? Why did they give earth?
Because Krishna is reborn for the sake of to re-establish dharma. Okay, he's born, and so he's come in the form of a human, right? So Tyakta Jivita, you call it as, okay. So
Mataji, chariot who gave?
Indra and Agni will give him the chariot and the bow. Okay, so can you see the bow here?
Mataji.
It is called as the Ghandiva. Okay, so those are all the 9 reasons. Okay, so why Krishna appeared? Okay, why Krishna appeared on this earth is because Kamsa will be ruling. Okay, and he will be creating a lot of adharma in the earth. Okay, and because of his activities, the Bhumi Devi, okay, or the earth, Mother Earth will be very fed up. She'll be fed up, and she wants to put an end to that, and therefore she takes a form of a cow. Okay, so she comes in the form of a cow, and she will ask Brahma, okay, please do something, okay, because Kamsa would have imprisoned. He will, I mean, before his father can make him the king only, he will put him to prison, and then he will also want to kill his sister and brother-in-law and all that. So a lot of what do you say, demonic activities he'll be performing. And so Bhumi Devi will get, or the Mother Earth will be fed up of his activities, and so she'll come and request Brahma, and Brahma will say that, okay, let's ask Narayana. Okay, and that's how Narayana decides to take birth as Lord Krishna in the Dwapara Yuga. Okay, and so and because of that, Lord Krishna is born. Okay, so when Krishna, then Krishna or Narayana comes and tells Vasudeva and Devaki that I'm going to be born in your womb. Okay, and so and also he will instruct Vasudeva to do take him safely to Nanda Maharaj's house. Okay, so Devata, so when Krishna is about to be born, all the Devatas will offer prayers so that the baby is born safely. Okay, so after so it so happens that Kamsa is the elder brother for Devaki, and when Vasudeva, who is the king of Mathura, will ask Devaki, will ask Kamsa that can I marry your sister Devaki? He'll agree. He'll be very happy to marry her. Okay, and it so happens that one day he'll be taking them to his palace, but on the way he will also hear an Akashavani which tells that the 8th son of Devaki will kill him. Okay, and so once he hears that, he wants to immediately kill Devaki. Okay, so this is the scene where Kamsa is trying to kill Devaki. Okay, and Vasudeva is trying to stop him. Okay, and so he says, please don't kill my wife. Okay, because he would have just then married her. And so he'll say, don't kill my wife. All the babies that are born to us, we will hand over it to you. Okay, so you can do with whatever. If they're alive only, they're going to kill you, right? So you can do whatever, as soon as they're born, we'll give it to you and you can do whatever you want. Okay, and it's so happy. And so that's how he will pacify Kamsa, and then Kamsa will say, okay, he will decide to, are you able to see the screen? Yes, right? Yeah. Okay. So then he'll be able to, and so he will agree and he'll try to put them in the prison. Okay. And slowly all the kids that are born to Devaki, Kamsa will immediately kill them. Okay. He'll throw on the walls of the prison and all the babies will die. Okay. So like that, 5 babies he'll kill. Okay. And I mean, 6 babies he'll kill. And the 7th one will be Balarama. Okay. And so before Balarama is full-fledgedly born, what will happen? The God himself will decide to transfer the womb of Devaki to Rohini, who is another wife for Vasudeva. Okay. And so that's how Balarama will escape the death of from Kamsa's hand. And as the 8th child, Krishna is born to Devaki. Okay, but before he is born, Lord Narayana comes and instructs Vasudeva that he should, once Krishna, that I will be born to Devaki, and once I am born, you should safely take me to Nanda Maharaj's house. Okay, and get the baby that is born to Nanda Maharaj to the prison here. Okay, and so since Devaki and Vasudeva are pious devotee of the Lord, they will follow his instruction, or Vasudeva will follow the instructions of the Lord, okay, very dutifully. So the Lord turns himself into an ordinary small baby, and Vasudeva quietly took his little son out of the prison. Okay, so you can see also the Sheshanag, which is guarding the baby. Okay, and it will be very it will be a day of Ekadashi only, when Lord Krishna is also born. Okay, on the day of Ekadashi, and it will be very heavily raining, and this is the Yamuna river, which is also very the currents are very high, and it is the river is, I mean, the river is very violent. Okay, or it is roaring with big waves. Okay, but since Sheshanag protects him as an umbrella, okay, he protects him, and so that's how Vasudeva will be able to safely carry the baby. They came to the Yamuna river, and it was roaring with big waves and foams, but they were able to cross it. Okay, because God has already destined that he is going to be born, and he's also given him instructions that you should go take me and go put me beside Mother Yashoda. So he walked into, so Vasudeva will quietly walk into Mother Yashoda's palace and put Krishna down next to Mother Yashoda. And then he picks up the Yashoda's baby girl and went back to her, to the prison of Kamsa, where he put her down next to Devaki. Okay, so he will swap the babies, and he'll get the baby of born to the Yashoda to the back to the Kamsa's palace. And when Kamsa sees the baby, he sees that it is a female child, but he knows that the child, the Akashavani, which was told, was the 8th son of Devaki will kill, and then he'll be surprised. But he, at that moment, he nothing goes into his mind, because he only wants to put the baby to death. Okay, so he'll again do the same thing what he did for the remaining kids. He'll throw the baby against the wall, but the baby again converts itself into a beautiful goddess. Okay, and which is nothing but the Mother Durga. Okay, or she is the Parvati, who would have come in to help Lord Krishna in this birth. Okay, so when Kamsa tries to kill the child, the girl flew up in the air, and she was Maya Devi. Okay, and she's also called as the Maya Devi, who is like the jailer who controls, okay, the Maya, yes, or she's the one who put us, or who will control us in this earth. Okay, and that's why she's called as the Maya Devi. Okay, and so but at Nanda Maharaj's house, they all see that a baby boy is born, and they're all very happy, celebrating the birth of Lord Krishna at the Nanda Bhavan. Okay, so you can see Mother Yashoda and other all ladies are giving bath to Krishna, and all of them are serving him. Okay, and Nanda Maharaj will be very happy because a baby boy is born to him, and so he'll start distributing his wealth to the people in Vrindavan. Okay, and they will have a this one. Okay, they will have a very good celebrations. Okay, and so today's story is on Dinabandhu Dada. Okay, so yes, so let's Vrinda Krishna read.
The teacher was not getting any
What happened? Yeah, Ishwar, read ma.
Yes, Mataji. Once, in a village, some students were learning in Gurukul. The teacher was not getting any salary, but whatever he wanted, the students would obtain either from parents' house or by bringing. That was the system.
Yeah. So it was a Gurukul system earlier where the teacher used to, Gurukul is where the students go to the teacher's house and they learn, okay, and the teacher would not get any salary that time, but, and whatever the students feel like or whatever they are happy or they would want to give the teacher, they would take it, okay. So the teacher was not getting any salary, but whatever he wanted, the students would obtain either from the parents' house or by begging. That was the system then, okay. And then it so happens that one day the guru's father, okay, his death anniversary will be there, and so the guru wants to perform some puja, and he also wants to host a lunch for all the people, okay. And so he will ask his students or the children, he will ask, what will you all bring for the contribution, okay, because he wants to perform the function, the death anniversary of his father. So he'll ask all the kids, what are you going to bring or what are you going to contribute? And every child will tell what they can afford, okay. They will say, some will say I will get some clothes, some will say I will get water, some will say. So everybody will tell, but one of the child in the class, he will be very poor, and so he will not know what he has to commit or what he wants to, what he can bring for, what he can afford to bring for the guru, okay, because he's very poor. And so the brahmanas were teachers who would never charge for the Vedic education, okay. And then one poor student spoke that I cannot say anything without asking my mother. And so the child will tell, because he doesn't know what he can give, so he will say, I want to ask my mother before I can commit or before I can tell you. And so the guru will give him the permission. And he'll tell, okay, you can ask your mother and then you can tell me tomorrow. Okay. And so then the child will dutifully go back home and he will ask his mother, okay, today my teacher asked me, okay, the guru asked us to get something. What can I give him? What can I contribute to the guru's ceremony at home? Okay, and so the mother is also, so she is asking, what shall I promise? Okay, and so the mother, since they are very poor, she simply says that we should ask Dina Bandhu. Okay, so my dear son, we are so poor, we cannot give anything, but God is Dina Bandhu, the friend of the poor. If he gives you something, then you can promise. Okay, so she says, okay, so she'll tell, we should ask the Lord. Okay, so only if he can give us something, then you can give, because why she calls the God a Dina Bandhu, that is the one who will help the poor, okay, or who is a friend for the poor, okay. And so the child wants to know where to find him, okay. So he will ask her, where do I find him? And so the mother tells him that he may be in the forest. And so this small boy, he's a small boy, innocent boy. Okay, so he doesn't know, but he knows that whatever his mother has told, or he has complete faith in his mother. And so he dutifully listens to what she told. And so he goes in search of the Lord, or Dinabandhu, in search of him to the forest. And there in forest, he keeps calling Dinabandhu, brother. Okay, and so because of his innocence, the Lord will also appear in front of him. Okay, or Lord Krishna appears in front of him, and then he will ask him, why are you calling me? What are you calling me for? Okay, and then the child will ask that today my teacher asked us, and I didn't know what to promise. So what shall I promise? He wants us to contribute to the ceremony. Okay, and so the Lord will tell him that, or he will say, you can promise him the yogurt, right? Because Lord Krishna, milk and milk products are always favorite for Lord Krishna. And so he will tell him, you can tell him that I will get some yogurt. Okay, and so the child is very happy after listening to that. He'll be very satisfied, so that he has an answer for his Guru the next day, and so he will go and tell him that I can get you some yogurts for that function. Okay, and so the Guru will also be very happy that he is able to get yogurt for the ceremony. And on the day of the ceremony, again, the boy goes in search of Dinabandhu, and because he has to carry that for the temple, right? I mean, for his guru's house. So he will go in search of Dinabandhu, and then again, the Lord appears in front of him, and he'll give him a small pot of yogurt. Okay. And taking this pot, the boy is innocent because he doesn't know anything. Okay. So he asked his mother, and so his mother told him that you may find Dinabandhu in forest. Then he came to forest. He also found Dinabandhu. Then Dinabandhu also promised him that he will give him yogurt. Okay. And today, as promised, he appeared, and he also is giving him a small pot of yogurt. So the boy doesn't think much. Okay. So so he receives whatever Krishna gives, and he will go back to his guru's house. And then the guru, seeing the size of the pot, he is now shocked. Okay, he says, this is my contribution. The boy tells happily, but the guru is not happy. Okay, because seeing the size of the pot, and he will be angry, and then he will say, well, how much see, such a small pot, and if the guru has invited many people, how many people it can serve? Okay, and so the guru is very is not satisfied with what the boy has brought, and so in that anger, he places the pot, and he leaves that place. Okay, and the way he would have kept the pot will fall down, and all the yogurt will spill on the ground. Okay, and then after some time, the guru again comes back to the same place, and then he sees that the pot has the yogurt from the pot has fallen off, and then he tries to pick up the pot, and then later he sees that the pot every time gets filled with the yogurt whenever he tries to pour it. Okay, so then he picked it up and dropped it, and it was still full. And after performing the same experiment several times, and then the guru realizes that the pot is spiritual. Okay, like an Akshaya Patra. Okay, where it is infinitely, it keeps filling. Okay, so because the boy had brought it from Dinabandhu, so when the Lord is pleased, okay, so he infinitely keeps giving you things. Okay, so and then the guru actually understands that it was a spiritual pot, and what he unnecessarily he didn't realize the importance of the pot, or he didn't realize what that boy had brought. Okay, and so then later he will get to know. Okay, so so the moral is Om Purnam Adu Purnam Idam. So even though Krishna is spread throughout my many bodies as Paramatma, he is still the complete whole supreme personality of Godhead. Okay. Yeah, all of you recite Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yes, I have shared the attendance link for today. All of you mark your attendance.
Mataji,
Yeah.
I clicked it by mistake 11 to 15 years.
13.
What?
11 to 15. Huh? Why it is asking for age? Huh?
Mataji. Ma'am, Ma'am, 1 minute. I don't know this.
Mataji, maybe that is second level because in this age it is fast.
Mataji,
Yeah.
I clicked just join login now, but
Hmm.
I selected